Yeah, Tylee's aunt, Annie Cushing, is recounting the last time she saw Lori and Tylee and how she says she saw a seismic shift in Lori's personality. This is how Annie knew her former sister-in-law, Lolo, Lori Vallow-Daybell.
Very loving and doting mother.
Speaking with us from New York City, Annie Cushing explains Lori married Annie's brother, Joe Ryan. The couple had a daughter together, Tylee. In 2018, when Joe died from a heart attack, years after his divorce from Lori, Annie went to visit the mother and daughter.
This change in Lori's personality was definitely a new thing.
A change that she says included Lori saying negative things to Tylee about her father weeks after his death, lying to Annie about things, and talking about the end of times. Annie says she texted her daughter, bothered.
I said, I think Lolo may be a sociopath. I'm not in the habit of just randomly calling people sociopaths.
Just over a year later, Lori's husband and Tylee's stepfather, Charles Vallow, died, shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox. Tylee and her brother, JJ, Lori's adopted son, went missing in Idaho 2 months after that.
I felt like from the beginning, the chances of these kids being found alive were, most likely pretty remote.
This private investigator says
Rich Robertson is a private
hired him after Charles died.
Tylee certainly was a witness to Charles' shooting, and if anybody knows what really happened, if there is a different story to tell, it could have been Tylee to tell that story. Does that have anything to do with why she is missing? I certainly hope not.
She's just a really brilliant, creative girl who deserved a chance.
With new developments like Lori abandoning a storage unit with her kids' belongings and the CBS News report that police found Tylee's cell phone with Lori, Annie wonders what happened to the woman she loved like her own sister.
Hey guys, I'm Fancy.
I'm Colleen.
And this is Murder by Design. So happy late Valentine's Day, folks. We hope you had an epic day with your loved ones.
But don't forget to check out our Valentine's Day blog post, Till Death Do Us Part. It's all about the minister, Nathan Leothold, who on Valentine's Day 2013, after buying his wife roses and sending the kids off to school, staged a break-in at home of his in-laws where he and his wife, Denise, and 3 children were living.
Thankfully, my husband did not kill me after giving me these. Nathan made the 911 call without ever entering the house to even see if anyone was inside or if his wife, who had not been answering her phone all day, was okay. Police entered the home and found Denise had been shot in the face. Get the rest of the details over on our blog at medium.com/murder-by-design.
And if you like the article, please give us a clap. It helps more people find us.
Yeah, my husband came home with roses and chocolate-covered strawberries today, and then tomorrow, I don't know what we're doing. He's doing something really special for me. So,
well, Tim came home with some roses, some chocolate truffles, and then I had actually, after my dentist appointment, went and to this local chocolate factory. I love chocolate. Never been there before. Got some chocolate-covered strawberries, and I got him some chocolate-covered pretzels because those are his favorite.
Ooh.
So, and then he got me a card. It's our first Valentine's Day as man and wife.
Aww.
And so he got me a wife card, and I'm like,
oh, your very first wife card. That's so cute. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, we hope you really enjoyed your Valentine's Day. And do go check out the blog because I spent a lot of time researching that one to find a really good one, because there was a lot of them. You could do like Valentine's Day Massacre. There was a couple others, but I thought that one was really interesting. It has a exchange student mistress involved in it. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy. And we may cover it eventually on our podcast.
We've got
it really interesting.
got tons to share with you guys over and over again. I think the list of cases that we have is never ending. I don't think it ever will end.
And it's just so funny. I just find more and more and more and more. And the case we're going to talk about today, I guess they just did a Dateline on, which I'm going to like get off of here and watch immediately.
Right, Dateline.
But you've got an update for us today, right, Colleen?
I do
okay.
have an update. So a couple weeks ago, we brought you the Lisa Snyder case. So please go ahead, take a listen to that and get all of the information that we presented there. Give it a like if you like it.
We've done 2 episodes.
But so this week she had her first court appearance where the reporter said that she showed no emotion, just straight blank. Where as the cops who were there to testify were bawling their eyes out, you know, just super sad. But it said that the prosecutors collected nearly 2,000 pages of Snyder's Facebook activity, as well as messages where she sent those bestiality photos.
Right.
But there are some things that are being said that, so the 2 kids were hung with dog leashes. They're being said that the daughter, the small young one, was actually able to just be taken down by unleashing like the dog leash.
So that kind of contradicts her story of the fact that she couldn't get them down, that she was, well, you know, she was sweating profusely, according to her, because of anxiety, which I think is the most bullshit thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, I have anxiety as well, but there's no way in hell that I would not be able to try and get my kids down. I would have died trying, man.
Well, and there were the chairs, like stand on the chair, get your kid down, cut the leash. I mean, it was metal, but like do something. But all they had to do was just like unclip it, take her down. Like the son did need 2 people to take him down. He was a bigger kid, but the daughter did not.
I mean, she's 4. She's 4. Tiny.
But something interesting that I found was that Andrea Yates' attorney actually commented on this case. And also Lacey Spears' attorney commented on this case. Which, so we have been covering Lacey Spears and we'll be covering Andrea Yates.
Yes.
But so Yates' attorney, he said that his name is George Parnham. He actually stops into the hospital that Yates is in like twice a month. Every time he stops by the graves to lay flowers over the 5 kids' graves.
Right.
And he's often called to consult on cases where mothers are charged with killing their kids. But he said that Snyder's fight for a fair trial should begin now, long before she faces the jury. And if he were defending Snyder, he says that he'd be hiring a mental health expert and working to tamp down the community's rage by speaking on her behalf. He quotes that, "I think it's imperative with a high-profile case such as the mom taking her kids' lives by hanging to go on the offensive, reach out through the media, and try to level with the playing field." And then attorney Stephen Ribling, who represented Lacey Spears, who was convicted in 2015 of killing her 5-year-old son Garrett with doses of salt, he said, "As a defense attorney, I do not necessarily want to try my client's case on the stairs of the courthouse." He said, "However, one must recognize that your potential jury will come from the local community, and first impressions and presumptions will snowball in the absence of a consistent and reasoned message from the defense. It's too early to know if Snyder will mount a mental health defense like Andrea Yates did. Her attorney, Dennis Charles, declined to be interviewed." So these 2 high-profile cases, the attorneys are like, you guys are screwing up big time. You got to go now.
Yeah, I know, but I don't see a mental health thing for her. No. I mean, Andrea Yates. Okay, when you're talking about Andrea Yates or Lacey Spears, I think Lacey Spears, you know, she's classic Munchausen by proxy. I mean, that is total 100%. We've dealt with Munchausen by proxy with Gypsy's case, and in the case of what we've read, you know, we had questions about Dee Dee, whether it was malingering or Munchausen or just freaking terrible sociopathic child abuse.
Yeah.
You know, but Lacey definitely classic MVP. And I, you know, she maintains her innocence, and I think she is completely cuckoo. Okay. Like literally, but I'd love to talk with her. Like I want to talk with her and find out her thought process now after she's been in there for a while. But Andrea Yates, my heart has always gone out to that woman because I feel like that was mental health and she knew it and she tried to get help and her husband ignored her. And she had many instances where something had happened and they should have known better. And he didn't pay attention to her and he didn't take it serious, and there was supposed to be somebody there that day to help her and they had not gotten there yet. And he should not have left. He literally should not have left. And he knew it. And so I have always felt terrible for that poor woman. Now, I'm not saying that she should be out walking the streets. Of course not. Right. She definitely needs to be in a mental health facility, which she is. And I hope that she is getting some sort of real help in there and finds peace with what she has done, because I can't imagine suffering like she has. And then, as she heals and as they help her get through this, she has to live with the fact that because of her mental health issues, her children are gone,
It's postpartum psychosis to the T.
Oh, yes. And her case is just heartbreaking. The fact that, she took them one by one, it just laid them out. I mean, it was just, oh my God, that case was one that I just cried and cried and cried and cried over, because I just felt like it was every single person in there was failed. Like, I really blamed the husband and I felt like he should have been held to some sort of neglect or something. And he wasn't, and that really bothered me. Because I felt like it could have been easily prevented if he had really taken, charge.
She was in and out of mental health facilities.
Right.
Like, it was a totally a preventable situation. He didn't do anything to help his wife, knowing that she was having these thoughts. He knew she was having those thoughts.
Yes.
And putting her alone with 5 children, including babies, and
the thing was it started long before the 5th one, so he just wanted to keep having children and she didn't. She was like, I can't, not that I don't want more children, not that I don't love more children, but I can't do this, I'm something is not right with me. She knew, and that's so sad. Like I feel for her, and the pain that she must carry around every day has got to be unimaginable. I don't know how she makes it through. And my heart definitely goes out to her. And we actually know somebody who is a cousin of Andrea's, so we might be able to have that person on to talk a little bit about that case in, more personal terms. But that's one that I definitely will be covering. And we'll be covering both, Lacey in more depth. We are waiting for the case files. They should be here in a couple of days. I'm so excited. I really want to look at those. And then we will be covering Andrea Yates, both in our Moms Who Kill series. I don't know if we'll do Andrea on this platform or if we'll do it on our podcast, The Good Wives Guide to True Crime, but definitely one or the other. But Lacey, we've been doing on here. We've done a couple of episodes. I think we've done 3 total on Lacey, maybe 2. Two, and we have a 3rd one planned. We're just waiting to look at a couple of things. So,
and you'll be listening to another Moms Who Kill episode here with Olivia Gant, and you'll also our speculations on another stepmom who definitely killed her son. But we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, so we're definitely doing a lot on the Moms Who Kill. And then in March, we'll actually be switching on our podcast over to the Family Annihilators. So we'll be covering cases like Lizzie Borden, Chris Watts, Scott Peterson, Christian Longo, and I think there's a couple other that we found recently. So you guys are definitely going to want to tune in for all of those here on Murder by Design and on our podcast, The Good Wives Guide to True Crime. So this week's case, though, is one that has been unfolding since September of last year. And like most of the cases we cover, it's filled with strange happenings and twists and turns. So 2 Idaho kids, Tylee Ryan, 17 years old, and Joshua Vallow, 7 years old, have been missing since September 23rd of 2019. They were last seen in Rexburg, Idaho.
Was he 7 or was he 6?
He's 7. I'm sorry. I wrote it down wrong, but it's 7. So they were 10 years apart. And he's actually an adopted child, and he has special needs. So the family is very, very concerned. But This case is, I started researching it a little while ago, and the more and more I get into it, the more and more crazy it gets. Like, we're going to briefly cover some stuff here first, then we'll be reading from an aunt of Tylee's who, and I hope I'm saying her name right. I think so. I always have a hard time with names, but it looks like Tylee. So, which is a different name. I've never ever heard that name. It's super
Like
cute.
Tylee.
Yeah, like Kylie, but Tylee. It's interesting. I thought I had it wrong at first. I kept looking to make sure that there wasn't an R. But anyway, we'll be doing a timeline of events as she tells it. And we've asked her if she would join us, and we're hoping to hear back from her. So, but let's get into it here, Colleen. You want to start us off here?
Yep. So as always with these cases, pretty much the parents are our number one suspects.
Yep.
It's unfortunately true, but statistics show that it's either parents or close family friends that end up being the ones who harm the kids.
Yep.
So Lori Vallow-Daybell is the mother of Joshua, who Joshua also goes by JJ. And then there's Tylee. She and her new husband, Chad Daybell, are both suspects in the disappearance of these kids. The police state that they never reported the children missing, and they've continuously lied and are refusing to cooperate with the investigation, which already screams you're guilty.
Oh, wait till you get into the timeline that the aunt writes. It gets way crazy. Like, there's a homeschooling situation. There's tons of other deaths. There's deaths of 4 or 5 husbands and wives, and it's crazy. So, I mean, but yeah, this already screams of totally just the parents,
Guilty.
guilty. But I mean, we don't know this. So, but the parents have lied. They're refusing to cooperate with the investigation. And they've even told people, like Lori told someone that she had no kids. And then Chad told somebody that Lori had no kids. And then Lori allegedly told another person her daughter had died the previous year. So, I mean, the story is just crazy. So in late January, Lori was court ordered to produce the children, but she failed to do so. She had 5 days and she didn't show up. And so now the court has this opportunity to hold her in contempt, allowing authorities to extradite her from Hawaii to Idaho. But so far, this does not appear to have been acted upon. However, these types of cases, because of dealing with minors in Idaho, they are sealed. So if they could be working to do something that nobody knows about. But several of the local defense attorneys in the area have even said that they don't believe that it will happen, because at this point, there really is nothing to determine that there is a real crime yet.
It's just missing children.
I don't get it. How is that not a crime? How is missing children not a crime? Like,
well, and to tell people, oh, no kids, and oh, yeah, my kid died, and why the hell are you in Hawaii?
right. So she's off sunning on the beach while her kids are just missing. That's okay. No problem. I don't care.
Nope, fine.
She's originally said that JJ was with with family in Arizona, because that's where they had just moved from. But he's never been found. She's not been found. Authorities were alerted to the missing children when the grandparents, Kay and her husband, called, and they said that Joshua needed a welfare check because they had not heard from him since September. And being that he was this, special needs child, they were very worried. And so the police investigated. They questioned them. The children were not there. That's when she said that the children were in Arizona. And then the next day, police came back with search warrants and wanted to ask more questions. And the parents had fled the state, and they surfaced a little bit later in Hawaii. So they left in a hurry to avoid answering any type of questions and keeping the police from being able to really search at this time. So it delayed them being able to search.
I just can't even fathom that. Like, oh, well, we're probably going to get in trouble, so let's go sunning in Hawaii and enjoy this last vacation before we end up in prison.
Yeah.
I just guilty.
Oh,
you don't
just
guilty.
Unbelievably guilty.
But so then this is not even the strangest part. So Chad and
just strange shit beginning to happen.
Right. So Chad and Lori had only recently wed in late 2019. Right. Lori moved her family to Idaho in August of 2019. Chad's first wife, Tammy Daybell, was found dead in October 2019. And Chad and Lori married 2 weeks after Tammy's death. That's not
suspicious at all. No.
But Tammy's death was originally thought to be of natural causes, but now authorities are not so sure. They've exhumed her body, and after an autopsy, the death has now been ruled suspicious. I mean, of course it did.
Yeah. Oh, that's not the only death, though. Wait. Okay, so I originally, when I first started looking into this, I thought that Lori only had one other husband, Charles Vallow. No. This guy, Chad, is her fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth husband, and there are deaths with these husbands. So are we talking Black Widow here? Like
100%. That's
okay. So Lori's fourth husband, Charles Vallow, also died in 2019 in July in Arizona when he got into a confrontation with Lori's brother, Alex. And Alex claims that he shot his sister's ex-husband in self-defense. But guess what? Now her brother has mysteriously passed away in December with unknown causes. They have not released this. And that was 2 weeks after he married some chick. Like, this is crazy. Where do we get into the timeline? I'm going to give you specific details from the aunt. It is nuts. I could not even believe this. Guys, I'm a writer. I could not write this shit, okay? Like, I could not come up with this in my right mind.
Well, and a lot of information is now coming out about the different religions and how they play a little bit of a factor in different murders. I mean, the witnesses just came out. It was good. I want more. But Chad and Lori are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Chad is a published author in the sector of near-death experiences and doomsday preparations.
Right. Now, let's just be okay. So there's people alleging that this thing that they're doing with the doomsday preparations is some sort of cult. It has nothing to do with the normal Church of Latter-day Saints. Okay, this is their own weird, crazy like break off of this that they are doing. And Chad is like the leader of this, and so they both have appeared on a podcast for the thing called Preparing a People, which the group said involves the second coming of Jesus Christ. And hang on, so the actual podcast episodes have been removed, but the show notes are still there for the first one. So just give me 1 second for this to load because I found this super interesting. So this is the one that both of them were on. And it says Jason Mao of the very popular www.thewarchapters.com has been speaking to youth and their parents from all over the U.S. about what it means to be a true modern-day warrior for good. Time to Warrior Up is a nationwide movement to become all that we were destined to become in a shifting world that needs great leaders. Of course, what would warriors be without great women of faith and courage? That is why Melanie Gibb and Lori Vallow had the idea to do this podcast featuring powerful women, mothers, youth, and mentors to encourage others along the pathway toward a hopeful future. They will include many unique guests who will inspire us all to aspire to be higher within. And each of us were born for greatness. Now we have the hows of implementing the creeds, tools, steps, and process of the warrior ethos. We are marching toward victory together. And then it goes on to plug that guy's book in his website. So that was interesting to me because she literally, according to the divorce documents that Charles Vallow filed before his death, Lori Vallow believes she is a God assigned to carry out the work of the 144,000 at Christ's second coming in July of 2020. Then she goes on later to tell him that when he returns from a trip that he had taken and gets back to Arizona, she is going to kill him. And there is an angel with her to dispose of the body.
But
that's not weird concerning that he ended up shot by her brother. No.
No, it's normal.
Oh, it gets even weirder when we get in this timeline. I want to give it to you in the timeline because it puts it in great perspective when you hear the timeline of events. But my gosh.
And we're not really, just so everybody knows, we're not mocking any religions.
No.
You believe what you want to believe. It's just that it's way too suspicious of circumstances that this lady is believing all this stuff. And then everybody in her life is dead or missing.
Right. Well, I mean, she's basically saying she's a god. No, you're not a god. You're not a god.
Right. Okay? In the Bible, there is one God. There's only one.
I mean, and if you go by I even believe that, like, I personally, I have my own thought processes on different religions and things. And I kind of believe that a lot of the differences, even though there's differences in thought process, I still believe that we all kind of have the same idea of this one God, that maybe whether you call it Allah or you call him God or you call him Christ, you're still talking about like the same eternal being, but she thinks she's a God. Like,
wrong.
Wow.
Like, everybody in your religion, like of the Church of Latter-day Saints, you say they don't like you anymore.
No,
you can't do that.
I guarantee you that's not part of the doctrine that the Church of Latter-day Saints teaches. My sister is Mormon, and she certainly does not believe she is a god.
Right, and that just gets me because Warren Chefs is one of my favorite things to learn everything about.
Oh, I know. I want to talk to his daughter.
Yeah.
My daughter is super, super, super obsessed with that story. Like, it's very strange.
It's crazy.
It is.
I don't know if they knew each other.
Well, and the thing is, and I have a personal experience with cults. I've told you guys about that before, that I was in one when I was in my early 20s, only for a couple of months. I was very strong-willed, so it didn't go very well for them. And because of me questioning and leaving, several other people left, so I always felt like I was led there to help, but the cults are crazy. And I even want to do some things on cults as we get further and further into true crime and stuff, not just covering murders, because these cults are dangerous and they are super crazy and they pop up all over the place and they really do prey on people that have minds that are maybe not quite there. A lot of people that if they have some questionings or they're having self-doubts or they have some parts of their background that are make them more susceptible to these things, it's really hard. Like,
cults, murder, rape, child molestation, all disappearances, all of those kind of hang around the cults.
Yeah,
so it's a fascinating thing.
It is a fascinating thing. So, I think this is time for us to take a little break.
Let's take a few minutes before we go on and talk about one of our affiliates. Affiliates are just one way that we get to bring you all the true crime news that we do. So we appreciate you guys giving them a try. And when you purchase from our affiliates, we get a small commission and no extra charge to you. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Yep. There's a new escape room experience you can have from the comfort of your own home, and it's called Dispatch. And what it is it's an interactive serial mystery that unfolds over several months. And it's a subscription box. And I freaking love the subscription boxes.
I get several.
Oh, I know. And I see new ones all the time and I'm thinking, oh my God, I need these. But anyway, this one combines the fun of a new box each month with the love of solving crimes. So we'll be unboxing some of them here in a few weeks. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. I've been waiting. I'm hoping to order one very, very soon and get it out so you guys can see it. But to get started with your own true crime adventure, just follow the link in our description and you'll be solving crimes from your couch in no time. So getting back to the case, we're going to go ahead and start in where the search is beginning. So in early January, the home of the Daybells was searched in relation to the death of his first wife and the missing children, which authorities think now might actually be linked. So a total of 43 items were recovered from the home, including journals, medications, letters, and cell phones. So now a cell phone has also turned up in Hawaii in an abandoned storage locker where some of the kids' belongings have been found. There is now footage of Lori and what they suspect to be the brother going in and out of the storage space, and they're carrying all kinds of the kids' things. There's blankets, toys, everything.
Suspicious. Suspicious. Also,
clothes.
why do people have several cell phones? Somebody tell me this.
I don't know. I can't keep up with one.
Like people have like 3, 4, and I'm like, why?
I don't know where it is. I don't know where my phone is half the time. I have to have my kids call it and tell me, hey, where is this phone? It's always going off because we're always researching, and I've got all kinds of Google alerts and Facebook alerts and all these different things. I can't imagine having a second phone. Like, I don't even like the fact I signed up for Google Pay the other day so that I could get my Panera paid for, like, right through my phone. And now I have to have a stupid lock on my phone that I never wanted to have on my phone before. And I always like hitting the wrong button. Can you imagine having to do that with 4 different phones? Like,
I just don't understand.
Who has all these phones?
Criminals.
Oh,
That's it. Criminals. You're hiding some shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it appears someone was texting from Tylee's phone after she went missing. They were texting friends, telling them that she missed them and she was all right. But the friends say it did not sound like their friend, and there was other suspicious activity from the phone. I guess there were 2 small payments from Venmo to a family member, and this phone is the one that was found inside of this locker. Like, I'm sorry, I have 3 teenage girls. There is no way in hell my 3 teenage girls would leave their phone behind in a storage locker.
Well, and you go from Idaho to Hawaii, plane tickets.
Right. And there are no plane tickets for the kids.
Right. So they didn't go. So why is their cell phone and their stuff in a storage locker in Hawaii when they weren't there? That's suspicious. Yes. I can't.
That's like, there's another case that we've been looking into in Florida, the Calandra Stallworth case that we got asked to look into. And the same thing happened with that. Like, that it's been 3 years now. They've not found a body. They don't have anything, but they won't arrest the guy, even though he was found with her car, her purse, her phone, her driver's license, all on him at the time that he was arrested. But they've made no other arrests or anything, and nothing has happened but why would he have all those things? Again, why would she have Tylee's phone without Tylee? Like,
no,
there's no new phone. It's not like she can say, oh, well, there's a new phone. She has this one here. We upgraded and here it is. Nope.
Well, and like the text messages are sent from Hawaii to back to Idaho, but there's no child. So you are posing as the child. Does that make sense? It's all sorts of, I dislike it. And so the court order to produce the children is a strategy that is well played, according to Thomas Tad Daybell, a former homicide prosecutor in Washington, D.C. Tad consults on murder cases with no body, and we've heard from him before. The charge of contempt of court generally only carries a $5,000 fine and is only a misdemeanor, but it's a good step in building a criminal case because if you have nothing to hide, then you follow that.
Right.
And according to Tad, it's actually very clever because it forces the parent's hand, which Tobias said on Thursday. Parents who have not done something to their kids are not going to violate a court order. So in that sense, it's powerful. So it's like what I just said, that if you have nothing to hide, you show up with the court order.
Right. You come back, you show, hey, here's the kids. I don't understand. Like, seriously. Okay. Well, I do understand. The kids are gone. The kids are gone somewhere. They're gone. Either she got rid of them or she sent them away somewhere, but obviously she's not going to come back. She can't produce these kids. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. I have to grab my dog. Come on. Here, I'll even show him on camera. This is Rowdy, guys. He's my little booby. I love him so much. My little bubby. Cute baby. Okay. Anyway, he's going to lay down next to me, which is where he loves to lay while I tape my YouTube videos. Anyway, so the grandmother speaks out, and that's Kay Woodcock. And the only word that she says coming to mind right now is monster. And she said this during a press conference, and this has just been very disheartening. And she's at a loss now. She says, I'm at a lot less optimistic at this moment. So Kay and her husband have offered a $20,000 reward for information leading to the children's discovery. Madison County Prosecutor Rob Wood is still optimistic, and he prays the children will be found, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe she is hiding them in the cult somewhere. Right. Like that's a possibility, but I don't believe that's the case.
Well, I mean, that is a very distinct possibility. Stranger things have happened. The grandmother describes Lori as smug and arrogant and has even considered filing for custody of the children in the past. Now, I don't know, and I'm hoping that by talking to the aunt, I can get further clarification, because Kay is supposed to be Charles's sister, but I guess she is JJ's grandmother. So I don't know if maybe that means that there is Charles adopted a JJ from a sibling or something. I don't understand, or a niece, or I'm not really sure how that works out, but apparently there's some different things going on there in that family. I don't know. So if you have been listening to our podcast, The Good Wives Guide to True Crime, you will know that we recently switched our podcast hosting over to Buzzsprout, and it's been a fabulous and super easy switch. Buzzsprout gets your show listed in every major podcast platform. You'll get a great looking podcast website, audio players that you can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening, tools to promote your episode, and more. We recently started using their transcription service, and right now they're doing it for free for podcasters. Normally it costs them 10 cents a minute, but right now there's the thing where they're doing them for free, which I think is amazing, because other transcription services are $1 a minute. So I was really excited about that. The team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. So join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Follow the link in the description, and that lets Buzzsprout know we sent you. And you get a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan, and it helps support our show. Okay.
Onto the timeline.
So she gets really detailed here. I'm going to talk about some of the players first. Okay. All right. So it is Annielytics.com. That's ANNIELYTICS.com. And it's her blog posts. And it says the timeline of events around the disappearance of Tylee, Ryan, and JJ Vallow. So she kind of gives a little bit of a background. Her father is Joe. Okay, so she says, you may be wondering why I'm following this case so closely. It's because Tylee Ryan is her niece, and her father, Joe Ryan, my brother, he was found dead in his home in April 3rd of 2018. So this is one of the first suspicious steps. And then Tylee Ryan and her half younger brother, JJ Vallow, have been missing since September 23rd, 2019, when Kay and Larry Woodcock, the grandparents of JJ, requested a welfare check. And Lori had lied and said JJ was with family and friends in Arizona, and that is where they had moved from. So let's go down here.
After this investigation regarding the kids was initiated, they started looking at the other deaths, attempted murders associated with this couple. And it started out in July of 2019, July 11th, when Charles Vallow was shot by Lori's brother, Alex Cox.
Mm-hmm.
When we already talked about why that was suspicious in itself. But Tammy Daybell, we talked about her, was the wife of Chad Daybell, and she died in her sleep in October 19th, 2019. It was initially determined to be from natural causes, but later ruled suspicious when Chad married Lori less than 2 weeks after in Hawaii.
Right. And so
a special place.
So we're going to go through a cast of characters here so you guys kind of know that's what she's got here for us. So we're going to go through that. So Tylee Ryan is the biological daughter of Lori Vallow and Joseph Ryan. So Joseph Ryan is Annie's brother, and she was 17 when she was last seen. Then there is JJ Vallow, obviously, and that's the adopted son of Charles and Lori Vallow. Okay, and then there is also one more kid, Colby Ryan, and that is Lori's biological child. Oh goodness, and it goes on. So Lori Vallow's fourth husband and father to biological son and two adopted sons, one of which is JJ, is Charles Vallow. They married in 2006, and he died 7/11 of 2019. He was shot and killed by Lori Vallow's brother, Alex Cox. Lori, Tylee, Ryan, and JJ were all home at the time of the shooting. So maybe that's a cause for this, because Tylee and JJ being there as witnesses, maybe they can say something against their mom.
Well, at least Tylee, because she was older.
Well, JJ's 7. I mean, that's not 7-year-olds are pretty savvy at this point. Okay. So, all right. So Alex Cox is the brother, and he died on 12/12 of 2019, just 2 weeks after marrying this woman, Zulema Pastinas. And Zulema is an LDS member and self-professed emotion code practitioner. She lists cuddling services in her profile. And so Zulema married Alex Cox less than 2 weeks before his death. Her 25-year-old son, Joseph Lopez, found Cox unresponsive in the bathroom. He did not know Cox's last name, and he referred to Cox as his mom's boyfriend, not husband. He had no idea they had even gotten married. So then there is Melanie Bordeaux, and that is Lori Vallow's niece, which we mentioned when I was reading about that podcast. And she followed her into this cult-like thing that Lori had joined, and she is married to Ian Pawlowski. And she had a former spouse named Brandon Bordeaux. And Melanie married Ian Pawlowski 4.5 months after Ian Pawlowski was divorced, and less than 2 weeks after she and Brandon Bordeaux were divorced. What is it with this family in 2 weeks?
Well, right. Like, if anybody is listening who is from this religion, is it a bigger thing that you marry somebody who you know and get divorced and then marry right away? Like, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and I'm pretty sure, at least in my state, you have to be divorced for 6 months before you can remarry. Were these marriages legal marriages? Was it just I have questions.
Well,
I have questions.
I don't know about that. I do know that some states, I didn't know that, like your state, like you have to wait 6 months once you've been divorced.
I'm pretty sure.
Because I know there's a lot of states where you have to do marriage counseling or some sort of counseling sessions before they allow you to finalize your divorce, especially if children are involved. They sometimes make you take parenting classes together to learn how to parent as 2 separate households. But I've never heard of a hold like that. I don't know. But I do have questions, like you said. And so Brandon, the former husband of Melanie and father of her 4 children, at some point in time, he was shot at. And 2 of 2019. Like, what in the hell is going on here?
Somebody take the guns away.
Good God. So then there's Colby Ryan, and that is the other Lori's biological son, and he's married to Kelsey Ryan. And then Colby says he never knew where his mom and siblings were once they moved to Idaho after they left Chandler, Arizona.
You're going to tell your kid.
Right. So, and then there's the grandparents, which I also said is the sister of Charles Vallow. I just don't understand this. There's so much going on here. And then there's Joseph Ryan, who is the 3rd husband and biological father of Tylee Ryan, and adoptive father of Colby Ryan. And he died on 4/3 of 2018. Lori was the only next of kin in the ME's office had. She never returned any of their calls or notified his sister of her brother's passing, even though they had been friends since 2002, and she had her contact information. There was no funeral for him, and another family member was contacted by a funeral home more than a month after he had died. And so she recalls a nice time beforehand when they were very good friends. There's pictures of them together when Tylee was, when she was still pregnant with Tylee. Like, they were very close. And then there was just some sort of weird thing that happened with this woman. But the revolving door of fathers and men. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but good Lord, dying, deaths, people being shot at, kids are missing, spouses are dying, people are marrying people within 2 weeks of spouses dying. This is just, whoo.
Like adopting somebody else's half kid, five husbands.
5 husbands, several baby daddies. You've adopted some kid that somehow is involved in the family. I just, wow. So anyway, the timeline with her, she starts off a timeline on 8/5 of 2007. This is Alex Cox is arrested in Austin, Texas for aggravated assault, second degree against Lori Vallow's third husband, Joseph Ryan. Cox has used a stun gun against Joseph and threatened to kill him. And Joseph had just finished a supervised visit with his 4-year-old daughter, Tylee, and he sustained injuries that he injured his back and sprained his wrist in the fall, and her brother spent 90 days in jail. And if you want to know the sources on any of this, you can go to the actual blog that she wrote, and she has links to all of the sources. So that's really great. So then on 4/3/18, so we skip from there to that for
a couple,
right?
10 years.
Okay. Lori Vallow's third husband, Joseph Ryan, is found dead, and the autopsy lists heart attack as cause of death.
Which, whenever that is listed as cause of death, it's kind of like, well, he was old, and this is what I think happened. Oh, he had issues with his heart. And a lot of times they won't do a full autopsy then, if it doesn't seem as suspicious.
Right. But
so,
this is
suspicious.
This is suspicious because he didn't have heart problems or anything like that. So how did he die? And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It does. It absolutely does. You can be picture of health and the next day have a heart attack and be gone. But, it doesn't always happen that way. And with all the circumstances that are happening in this sordid story, I would definitely think that is suspicious.
So then, and a few months later, Chad Daybell and Lori do their first podcast together called The Time to Warrior Up. And that's the little snippet we read for you earlier.
Right. And they're not married at this time.
Mm-hmm. He's married to somebody else.
Right.
But on 1/24/19, that's the approximate date that Lori Vallow moves out of the family residence, taking their daughter Tylee with her. So that's when they move out of Arizona.
So 4 days later, Lori allegedly transfers $10,000 from Charles Vallow's business account into their personal account before moving the money into an unknown account. Then Lori also transfers $2,000 of Charles Vallow's enterprise points to a personal account, although Charles does not discover the transfer until approximately February of 2019. And so then on the 29th, just 1 day later, she allegedly transfers an additional $25,000 from the business account to the joint account, and then from the joint account to the same unknown account at Compass Bank, leaving the account at less than $1,000.
That's insane.
Right. No, it is. And on the same day, this is the day that she tells Charles Vallow she was a god assigned to carry out the work of 144,000 at Christ's second coming in July of 2020, and that if he gets in her way of her mission, she would murder him.
Well, seems like that maybe what happened. So the next day, on 1/30/19, Lori allegedly tells Charles in a phone call that she was going to kill him as soon as he returned from his trip, and claimed that she had an angel waiting to help dispose of the body.
Not how that works, but okay.
She also threatened to destroy him financially, according to court documents filed by Charles. Which she already did. She's transferred over $35,000 from his business account into joint, and then moving it again to an unknown personal account. Just stockpiling money.
So the next day, Lori reports to the Gilbert Police Department in regards to a harassment call for service submitted by Charles. And so the police are informed about a petition for an involuntary hold at community bridges. So police say Lori would be allowed to go to the facility willingly to talk to staff. If she did not, she would be taken involuntarily. Complicating matters, though, Charles has taken Lori's purse out of her car when she went to JJ's school, and he's refusing to return it. So only after police inform him that he needed to bring the purse and the petition to the station, or face theft charges did he say that he found it in the parking lot. And the document states Charles had many excuses as to why he did not give it back to her. The report further notes, during my contact with Lori, I found her to be in a normal state of mind, but only slightly upset. She did not have her property. Lori showed no signs of mental distress as she described what was occurring and appeared to be in a good mood. We've seen this in other cases where, these mental health professionals and people that are supposed to look for these different things fail. Just fail.
Slip through the cracks of that system.
Yep.
Like, they tell her, like, oh, you have to go, or we're going to make you go.
Right.
And then she's like,
oh,
okay.
She's fine.
I got money in my bank account. Of course I'm happy. And so in February of 2019, so in the early, first few days, Lori Vallow allegedly cancels Charles Vallow's flight home, which he found out when he arrived at the airport in Houston, Texas. So you cancel his ticket. So he was forced to buy a $600 last-minute ticket to Phoenix. After his plane landed, Charles walked out to the airport parking lot where he had left his truck. Yet he couldn't find it anywhere. Lori had used her spare key to remove the truck. He came home to a house that had been emptied. Charles also claimed that it took Lori 3 days to disclose where she'd left the truck. So Charles was forced to rent a vehicle during that time. So she tries to just not let him come home. And when he does come home, everything is gone.
So it's not okay to steal her purse, but it's just fine for her to take everything.
Everything.
Out the truck, clear everything out of the house, cancel his ticket home, and, whatever. Oh, so on 2/5/19, Charles Vallow is threatened with legal action because of not being able to meet payroll due to the $35,000 that Lori withdrew from the business account. And according to the divorce petition, Charles owes $22,500 in commission to a few contracted representatives. So here it is, where she said she was going to ruin him financially. It's happening.
Yep.
So the next day.
Yep. So on 2/6/19, the next day, that's the approximate date that Charles realizes Lori transferred 2,000 rent-a-car points out of their joint account, because in this time he had been having to rent a car. And so he also found out that Lori had called JJ's school to ask if he was in class. He was worried that she may have been planning to use the rental car points to potentially leave the state and take JJ with her.
Which she does. On the 8th of February, Charles files for divorce from Lori. And then approximately at that same time, Charles removed Lori as a sole beneficiary from his life insurance policy upon the advice of his lawyer.
Smart move.
Smart move, but
I mean, I think he knew what was going to happen, and so he was like, well, I'm not going to let her try to kill me for the money of my insurance.
Right. So on the 15th of February, Charles files a document asking for temporary custody of JJ, exclusive use of the house and the vehicle. He wants her to return the stolen money and return of his and JJ's personal items. Several attempts were made to serve Lori, but process servers were unsuccessful, even though Lori's car was seen in her brother's driveway when a server tried to serve her. She was reported living with her brother at this time.
But notable, the Daily Mail reported that Lori and Alex had a huge fight while she was living with them. This could have happened around this date, as neighbors claimed in January 2020 that the fight occurred around a year ago. And then the neighbor, Donnie Self, told the Daily Mail that she was screaming at him, accusing him of bringing disgrace on their family.
Now, I mean, the Daily Mail, it's kind of like a tabloid magazine, so I don't know how reliable that is, but I mean, it's there. So from February to March of 2019, Lori allegedly abandons Charles and JJ for 58 days. At least part of this time was spent in Hawaii. What is her deal with Hawaii?
She just likes it there. Tell me, she likes the beach.
With daughter Tylee, as well as living with her brother, as mentioned above. And they'd have no idea where she went for 58 days. She just ditched. So on 3/1 of 2019, Charles files to dismiss divorce proceedings. And on the 6th, his dismissal of divorce proceedings is approved. And then on The 7th, the next day, Charles withdraws his son, JJ Vallow, from school in Arizona and moves to Houston.
So it's interesting. I don't know why he would cancel. Maybe because he just thought she was totally gone and just didn't know where to find her anymore, and maybe just move and it just goes away.
No, there's reports that he wanted to try to work it out with her.
Yeah, move, dude.
Which I think maybe was that like her, okay, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna work it all out as she's plotting to kill him. Like,
most likely. But so on 4/9/19, Chad Daybell's friend and doomsday podcaster Julie Rowe is told that she would be excommunicated from the Church of Latter-day Saints based on the charges of apostasy, teaching false doctrine, priestcraft, and defaming the good name of the church. She and her husband have been appealed the decision, but expected to be denied. So that's what we had said. You cannot say that you are God. God is God. Like, Jesus is one of the, like, you are not God. And then teaching false doctrine, you can't be making your own shit up. So it's there. The church is saying that no, you're wrong. Bye. Which good move on the church's part, to be honest.
So in June of 2019, Melanie Bordeaux, she asks her husband Brandon for a divorce. Brandon says it comes out of left field. He had no idea. He thought he had a happy marriage. So that was pretty overwhelming. On 6/20/2019, Lori moves into her rental home in Chandler, Arizona. And less than a month later, Charles is shot by Alex. So according to Fox reporter Justin Lum, the shooting occurred around 8:30 a.m. Cox claims self-defense and calls 911. And Alex Cox was questioned by law enforcement outside of the home, which was recorded on body cam and can be viewed. So you guys can see that there. Yep, we'll drop a link to that, and you guys can get the link off this blog, obviously. And an officer goes into the home to look around and sees the body of Charles. There's a video of that as well. It's very graphic footage. Lori and Tylee were interviewed outside the home, which was also recorded on body cam. Lori and Alex and Tylee are all questioned at the police station, and transcripts of Lori's interview can be viewed and Tylee's. And Cox has not been released as of February 9th, 2020. There are reportedly contradictions in their stories, but no arrests are made. Later that day, neighbors report that the family hosted a pool party at the house with lots of people and loud music. What?
Yep, he's dead. Let's have a pool party. And also, Alex was staying at the house despite living in the immediate area. And Colby Ryan, Lori Vallow's adult son, later claims that his mother called him and said that he had died of a heart attack. And then when he got to the house, he found out later that his stepdad had actually been shot by his uncle.
Oh, and Charles was actually scheduled to look at apartments with the landlord after dropping JJ off at school. So he was trying to work it out, come back home, let's parent these kids together, and ends up dead.
Pool party. What the?
A pool party. Like, are you shitting me? Your ex-husband just died at your home, and now you're having a pool party. That's not strange.
Same day. That's fine. It's a happy celebration. But so on 7/12, which is just the next day, Lori texts her stepson a little after 4:30 p.m., approximately only 20 hours after he was shot, to tell them the father had died. She doesn't want to tell him how he died. And when one of the sons asked, she answered, "We are still waiting for the ME report." The son asked a series of questions trying to find out what happened. No response. At 6:54 p.m., he asks again with building frustration and anger. And at 8:20 p.m., he texts again. Lori replies again that she is still waiting for the ME. And she does not tell him that he was shot. And that's when he finds out after he just showed up at the house.
So then on
the same day,
7/12, same day, Cheryl Wheeler, which is Charles's ex-wife and mother of his two grown sons that you know, Lori had been talking with, she finds out from the ME's website that Charles's death has been classified a homicide. So then she searches Google for more information and discovers from news reports outside of Chandler, Arizona, that Lori's brother Alex had shot him. So approximately that same day, Lori attempted to file a claim on Charles's life insurance policy and finds out that she has been removed as sole beneficiary. Good job to the lawyer. And then Charles made his sister Kay the beneficiary.
Like, literally suspicious. The same day you called to get that money, he had already taken you off. So
then the next day, Lori sends another text to Charles's son after they have tried to get a hold of her over and over again. And she just says, I'm still waiting on arrangements and sorting things out best I can. And then Charles's son asks why she won't just tell them what happened. No response.
And then the next day, Lori leaves a voice message for one of Charles's grown sons, inviting him to talk. And we have that source in the blog that we'll be linking below.
Oh, it just goes on and on. I mean, this gets weirder and weirder. So one of Charles's adult sons texts Lori Vallow the next day on 7/15, saying that it had been 3 days with still no answers about how their dad died. He wrote, the only information we have is that one text from you saying he passed away. You disappeared after that. We need any information you have. What happened? When did it happen? How did it happen? Where is he now? Are there any funeral plans? And can blank, so the brother and I, be part of it? He later asked why Colby and Tylee haven't contacted them at all and why Colby didn't answer his call. He ends the text with, this isn't a nonchalant topic you can just throw a text at and be done with it. Oh, so the next day, Ian Pulowski, the future husband to Melanie, divorces his wife according to the date of the divorce listed on his Facebook profile page. Oh my God.
Social media leaves a record, people. You can't just delete posts, screenshots. It's everywhere. You can't do it. We have receipts. The receipts were kept. So in late July, Lori texts Charles Vallow's sister, Kay Woodcock, having just discovered she had been removed as the sole beneficiary from Charles' $1 million life insurance policy. Kay alleges she wrote something to the effect of, quote, 5 kids and no money, and his sister gets everything. And then at this time, Lori Vallow had 2 children living in the home, 1 adult son and 2 stepsons.
So it's not like she's got babies running around.
No, there's adults. They're both all adults. So Lori is now upset, realizing that she doesn't get the money.
So this is interesting. On 8/9 of 2019, Lori puts JJ's service dog, Bailey, up for sale. And the description reads, Bailey has such a sweet spirit. He has brought so much love to his home, but his owner recently died and he needs a new home. He is fully trained with certification as a service dog, up to date on his vaccinations, has been trained with children in the home, non-smoking home. Bailey is sweet and friendly around other dogs, looking for new owners who will appreciate and love him the way he has been loved. Spent $7,000 on service training. He is a full-bred golden doodle, has experiences on airplanes, has experience with people with autism. City, Chandler, Arizona, and then there's the ad number. And later, Vallow was later told by the organization they got the dog from that she couldn't sell the dog because she would need to return him. And Bailey has since been placed with a new family of a boy with autism.
So, like this, you admitted your owner is dead. So JJ is dead. You admitted it in August.
The last time that Kay Vallow-Woodcock hears from JJ Vallow via FaceTime is 8/10/19, and the call was reportedly 35 seconds long. So one day after she lists this dog and says that his owner has recently died is the last day that his grandparents hear from him.
Yeah. So on August 30th, Lori stops by the workplace of her oldest son, Colby, to tell him in the parking lot that she, Tylee, and JJ were moving the next day. Colby says that he didn't ask where they were moving and didn't find out they had moved to Rexburg, Idaho, until detectives came to his door in November 27th of 2019 to inquire about the whereabouts of Tylee and JJ. Just to me is so odd. Like, you just go to your adult son's work and be like, yep, we're moving the next day. No foul, like, you didn't talk about it. Like, oh, we're planning on moving.
Yep.
No.
So on the next day, Lori moves with Tylee and JJ to Rexburg, and her niece, Melanie Bordeaux, and brother Alex reportedly move into the same apartment complex and live within a few doors of each other.
I can't believe Alex is, like, out. Like, he shot the dude. Like, self-defense, I don't believe you. Like, and you're just free to go move across state lines. I don't like it. I don't like it. So
it's just, we're winding it down, guys, but here we go. So on 9/3/19, Lori Vallow enrolls JJ at Kennedy Elementary School in Rexburg, Idaho. On the 5th, she emails LIFE Academy, which is JJ's school in Chandler, Arizona, to say she needs to withdraw him. She had allegedly told staff over the phone that she accepted a position in California, which is not true, and that his father committed suicide, which is also not true. And the last day anyone sees him at school is the 23rd of that month, so 9/23/2019. So
but then the next day, Lori disenrolls JJ from school, indicating that she would homeschool him. But JJ is not seen with her.
So at least at least after the time period that the grandparents did not hear from him again, and that his dog was sold and she said he was dead, at least they did see the child after this. So people have seen him. So that's good news, at least.
Up until that point.
I would hope.
But then that same day that she disenrolls, it's Tylee's 17th birthday. And there's no social media posts, which, I mean, I'm a younger adult here.
She's 17. There would be social media posts.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Snapchatting it, something.
Happy birthday.
Even if it was, I'm really pissed off that my mother fucking took me out of the state that all my friends are in, and I'm celebrating my birthday by myself. There would be something. Thanks
for all the birthday wishes, guys. Thanks.
Right.
That would be minimum. So in the end of September, Chad Daybell and fellow Doomsday author Julie Rowe speak by phone about Tammy's imminent death. And so this is a quote from Fox 13, and the source will be in the blog, that, quote, 3 weeks before Tammy's death, Rowe and Daybell called each other. And I asked him, do you still see Tammy dying? And he says, yes, I do, said Rowe. Tammy was in charge of the finances and covers for Daybell's books. Rowe and Daybell wanted to get out of the business, but Tammy wanted to keep going. He said, I'm ready to get out now, and Tammy doesn't want to get out. When she passes, I'm done. I can't keep doing this. So he's just admitting that something's going to bad happen.
So on the 1st of October, Lori opens a 10 by 10 storage unit in Rexburg, Idaho. And this is where they see people going in and out. It appears to be her brother, and they're seen on the surveillance in the storage unit. On the next day, Brandon Bordeaux is shot outside his home in Gilbert, Arizona. The shooter was driving Tylee's Jeep, which is registered in Charles Vallow's name, and Bordeaux later identified Alex Cox as the shooter.
Which is confusing because this is the same day, so he's in Arizona shooting Brandon, but same day he's also seen on the surveillance video of the storage unit in Idaho. So he either drove or flew down there to shoot Brandon.
Maybe there's someone that looks similar. On cam. I don't know,
but it's suspicious. Suspicious. But so the next day, on the 3rd, Lori and a man who appears to be her brother Alex are seen again in the storage unit surveillance camera. And the next day, Tammy visits parents in Springville, Utah, alleging at Chad's urging. Chad Daybell claims divine urging from ancestors. So he's calling his family to come see him. And strange things just keep happening this entire week. So Tammy files a report to law enforcement claiming to be shot at by a masked man carrying a paintball gun. Okay. The next day, Tylee's Venmo account shows a payment to her older half-brother, Colby, with "We love you" in the description fields.
On the 14th of October, approximately, Melanie Bordeaux allegedly texts her estranged husband, Brandon, to let him know she planned to move to Boise. Text reads, "The kids could remain with you in Arizona. You would have to arrange for daycare, and I could have the kids for school holidays and summers, or I could take the kids to Idaho and enroll them in school there, and you could have the kids for school holidays and summers. Please let me know what you'd like to do."
And then 2 days later, Tylee's Venmo account shows another payment to her older half-brother, Colby, with a heart emoji in the description field.
And on the 19th, Tammy Daybell dies in her sleep, according to her husband, Chad. He claims she went to bed with a cough and just didn't wake up. Death is believed to be natural, and no autopsy is originally performed. Okay, so some people think that maybe something was in the paintball gun that hit her. I have not heard anything to to totally corroborate that yet, but some people are saying that might be what happened.
Suspicious. That's all we can say is everything is suspicious. And then so that week, Tammy is interned. On the 25th, a friend of Tylee reports receiving a text from Tylee, but reported it didn't sound like her. So just those weird texts.
So then 2 men are seen moving bikes in the storage unit that Lori Vallow rented. And in late October sometime, Colby Ryan says communication with Tylee Ryan started to change. He started calling and FaceTiming her, but she wouldn't answer and always had a reason for why she couldn't talk, and they didn't sound like her. Oh.
We're starting to people are getting suspicious on what's really happening.
Right. So in late October, early November, Lori and Chad Daybell lie about the death and existence of Lori's children. Quote, "We are aware that in the weeks after Tammy Daybell's death, Lori Vallow-Daybell and Chad Daybell told witnesses that Lori's daughter had died a year before the death of her father, which is untrue," police said. Around that same time, Chad told another witness that Lori had no minor children. And then in the fall of 2019, Chad Daybell is excommunicated, no shit, from the LDS church after he was declaring himself a prophet.
And I have studied LDS. There is one prophet, and currently the LDS prophet is Warren Jeffs, and he is in prison. So
it's crazy, but I mean,
so of course they were going to excommunicate you, you asshole. What do you think?
So
they already have enough drama.
I know, they already have enough drama. So November of 2019, witnesses report that Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow claimed Lori Vallow's daughter, Tylee Ryan, had died the year before, and Lori had no minor children. Lori
keeps repeating that no minor children.
Right. And so then on the 5th of November, Lori and Chad marry in Hawaii.
Stop going to Hawaii.
And there is coverage of that. On the 7th, they meet with Jean Martin about renting a room from her home in Kauai. According to Martin, after claiming to receive a sign from God about moving into her home, she asks about former wife Tammy's recent death, and he answers via text claiming, "She helped me reconnect with Lori so quickly, and it helped my children move forward."
2 weeks.
Got to be kidding me.
But so then on the 12th, Melanie trespasses into Brandon's parents' property in American Fork, Utah. American Fork police say that Melanie's uncle, Alex Cox, drove her to where her children were in a 2020 Kia Telluride.
So on the 14th of November, Melanie trespasses again onto Brandon's parents' property a second time around 10:30 p.m., claiming to have a court order stating that she could take the children. Police cite Melanie for criminal trespassing and tell her to leave the property, but then decide to take her into custody for criminal trespassing charges enhanced by domestic violence. Melanie turns herself in to AFPD and is booked into the Utah County Jail. Melanie's uncle, Alex Cox, posts her bail of $1,950. The day after the arrest, Cox bails Melanie out. Oh.
These families just keep intertwining suspiciously. So then on the 19th, Melanie and Brandon's divorce is finalized. She doesn't show up, and he's awarded full custody of their children. So if she had showed up, then that's when they start going into the joint custody agreements there. But because she didn't show up, she forfeits that right. He gets full custody of the children.
So on the 24th, there is another unidentified man who visits the storage unit in Rexburg, Idaho for the very last time. They stay for only 4 minutes, and then that's it. On the 26th, 2 days later, that's when law enforcement performs the well check on J.J. Vallow in Idaho. And Lori Vallow tells police J.J. is staying with a family friend in Arizona. Investigators learn later that day he had not been staying with that friend. And so the very next day, they return with a search warrant and discover that Lori and Chad have vacated the townhome. And witnesses say the kids weren't with them. And law enforcement also searched the townhouses belonging to Vallow's brother, Alex Cox, and niece, Melanie, who reportedly live within a few doors of Vallow. The detectives come to the house of Lori Vallow's son, Colby Ryan, to inquire about the whereabouts of his sister and his half-brother. And Colby says that he called his mom after they left and said, two detectives just came to my door. What is going on? And she allegedly answers, I got it. I'll take care of it. Love you. And Colby added, when pressed by Lum in the interview, that she also asked what the detectives asked him, but that was it. So 2 days later, Alex marries Zulema Pastinas in Vegas. According to the owner of a Chapel of Love in Las Vegas, which I know where that is,
I think everybody does.
Right. The minister reflected on the service, commenting that the thing that stuck out to him the most was their lack of emotional response. They were very cold. It was very businesslike. They wanted to get in and get out. The owner said that their service only lasted 8 minutes, and their only witness was the chapel security guard. And here's a crazy thing, and I know, I know that you've got this situation with your husband, but he takes Zulema's last name. I think he's taking it to, hide.
Yep.
Yeah,
I do too. Yeah. Tim took my last name because he grew up with not a great history with his last name. It was a long discussion. Yeah. I mean, for all of you, how would you feel if your future husband's last name was Divorce? Like, sorry. Been waiting since the 8th grade. It wasn't going to happen.
Right. So on the 30th, the very next day, then Melanie decides she's going to marry that Ian Pulowski and in Las Vegas. So
everybody's getting married.
Everybody's getting married. Are we trying to cover up so nobody can testify against each other? Maybe? I don't know.
Spousal coverage. You can't talk.
So on the 6th of December, the police in Arizona serve a search warrant for all JJ's records Academy, where he attended before Lori moved him to Idaho following JJ's father's death.
And then a few days later on 12/10/19, that's the approximate date that Lori and Chad move into a condo at the villas on the Prince community in Princeville, Hawaii. So they're staying in Hawaii now, even though all this drama is happening back in Idaho and Arizona.
Good Lord. I mean, so it goes on. So on the 11th of December, they exhume Tammy's, remains. Oh.
Which if they did it just on the autopsy in the first place, they wouldn't have had to do this. And disinterment is a really hard issue for family members.
And that's the next day, then Alex is found, he's found dead.
Suspiciously.
suspiciously.
But Zuluma Pasnina's 25-year-old son, Joseph Lopez, he had found him unresponsive in the bathroom and reports being unable to turn him over to administer CPR because he lost control of his bowels. I don't, that's, to me, doesn't, you can't turn him over because he's voiding his bowels. Then no.
I don't know. And then on the 20th of December, the FBI begins to join the investigation into the disappearance of these two kids. On the 21st, the parents, Lori and Chad, are named persons of interest.
I mean, it goes on and on and on. But then we get into now 2020, and that's when on 1/3, the police department and the FBI search Chad and Tammy's former home in Idaho, and they collect 43 items, which is a lot of items for a place they haven't lived in a while. And then there's some court dates for the different people's trespassing charges.
The award is announced.
Statements are released by family members because now this story is getting big. Body cam footage is released on the 13th. On the 25th of January, the law enforcement in Hawaii serves Lori with child protection order from Madison County's prosecutor in Rexburg, Idaho, requiring her to produce Tylee and JJ to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare or Rexburg Police Department in Rexburg by January 30th. And on the 30th, Lori defies that court order, does not produce the kids, risking that potential civil and criminal consequences.
So on the 26th, they seize Lori and Chad's rental car and search them in their home. Nate Easton from East Idaho News pursues the couple to question them about the whereabouts of the children who have been missing for 4 months now at this point. And then on the 29th, the grandparents file for emergency guardianship of JJ Vallow, even though they have no idea where the hell he is.
And it gets even more sad because then in February, so now we're getting close, Lori and Chad start attending the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Kauai, Hawaii. So now they're going back to church, but the church is not confirmed or denied whether Chad had been excommunicated or is still a member. I mean, we know he was, so I don't know if this new church didn't know that he was excommunicated.
Well, probably not, because they have to go through a process to send in the thing to the main directory and all of that. Oh, and of note, Colby Ryan's mother-in-law, Carrie O'Neill Benson, launches a GoFundMe to raise $15,000 for Colby and his wife, citing financial burdens resulting from this family crisis. And now that goal has since been reduced to $7,500. Huh.
Wow.
Interesting.
And then that on 2/5, Rich Robertson, a private detective hired by Brandon Bordeaux, comes forward to say Bordeaux identifies Alex Cox was the shooter. The vehicle that was involved in the shooting belonged to Charles Vallow. That was a green Jeep Cherokee with Texas license plates. He recognized that as his former in-law, and he suspected Charles Vallow's killer, Alex Cox, was the one that driving the Jeep. On the 10th, law enforcement report that they found Tylee Ryan's cell phone with Lori Vallow in Hawaii. And on the 12th, Keith Morrison of Dateline of Dateline is tipped off that Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell had packed their bags and were heading to Mexico.
I love Keith Morrison. You have no idea. That
yesterday,
so amazing.
Yes. So yesterday, on 2/14, so last week for you guys, Dateline aired a 2-hour special on the case, Where Are the Children?
And I'm totally going to watch that in a few minutes.
Love Keith Morrison.
Oh, I love
him in general. Thank you.
I love him. His voice is so amazing. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, there's some updates here. You guys can go and check it out. I mean, we've gone through a lot on this case, I'm sure. Oh, there's Facebook posts and all kinds of things on this blog. So this blog is really, really wonderfully put together. And I do so hope that the aunt responds so that we can speak with her. I would really like that. Oh, but this one, God, guys, this is just sordid, man. Lots of deaths, lots of weird and strange happenings.
Where there's
and
relationships that are intertwined, dead husbands, dead wives, dead siblings, lying about your
cults and
dead
murders
kid.
and missing. Oh my! Like, you know,
This is
like
one of those cases that we were like. I mean, there are pictures of this couple all happy and shopping at Costco, like currently, like on 2/12. So they're just out having fun in Hawaii. These kids are still not there.
not there.
So,
Which either means the kids are dead and they've moved on, or they know exactly where these children are and they're not going to produce them, and they're probably somewhere in the
cults, right? I mean, I don't believe that they are alive, but I'm hoping that they are,
I mean,
and they
honestly,
could be hiding in the cult zone, hidden.
I mean, when you say cult, and it's a real cult, not just like some, you know, satanic death cult that they pretend to be, you know, torturing babies and killing animals and crap.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about a real cult, I don't know, whenever that happens, I mean, strange shit happens. So, I mean, they definitely could have them, you know, hidden somewhere, holding them against their will. I truly do believe that that could be happening, but I mean,
only time will tell at this point.
Yeah. So we'll be continuing this story along with, you know, the Lisa Snyder case and a couple of the other cases that we bring to you each week here on Sundays. On Fridays, we do our missing person cases. This kind of falls under both. So you might hear updates on either. So you might want to tune in. Make sure you subscribe below and ring the bell so that you get all kinds of notifications when we host new videos. So thanks so much for tuning in and dishing true crime with the Good Wives and Murder by Design.
Don't forget to join our Patreon member club to get exclusive mini episodes, inside documents and pictures from the case, live YouTube discussions, and our exclusive discussion group on Facebook, and get some amazing Good Wives merch.
And right now, we just released the entire unedited interview that we just did with Ernie Glam. And we will be releasing parts of our Laura Jacqueline, the serial killer, whisperer, mind hunter in there as well. We'll get a little bit of it on the podcast, but if you're in the Patreon, then you get all of it. But be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at True Crime Wives. And for more information, check out our podcast, The Good Wives Guide to True Crime, on any of your favorite podcast players. Have a good one from The Good Wives, serving up true crime one dish at a time.